Hey guys, Zangetsu 134 here, bringing you a Kamen Rider build episode 27 review. You'll have to forgive me if I sound a little weird. Allergies with spring and the fact that the weather's been kind of weird. Sorry. Makes my voice sound kind of scratchy and stuffy and nasally. I apologize. I've got root beer with me to try and counterbalance that. Also going to hold the phone away from the light so that you guys can actually see me. I apologize. Hold on. Also, we forgot to forgive the hum. It snowed again, so so the heater's on at the moment. That's better. All right. So, in this episode, we see the second round of the representative battle between Toto and Sato, and the beginning of the final round. In the second round, we see that Ryuga go up against the Gear Romacon bro, who has both engine and gear, and has combined them in the Nebula Steam Gun to become the Hell Bros combination, and proceeds to have a battle with Ryuga and Cross Z Charge. The fight's rough a little bit at the beginning, but eventually Ryuga starts putting more into the fight, as he wanted to be the one to defeat the last Gear Bro, so Sento wouldn't have to fight and constantly fight to the point where he'll destroy himself. As shown by the flashback during his training with Grease. Unfortunately, due to the Hell Brothers' trickery, Ryuga ends up throwing the match after being tricked. And so the last battle comes down to Sento versus Gentoku, aka Kamen Rider Build versus Kamen Rider Rogue. And so the battle begins, and Sento tries to defeat him using Rabbit Tank Sparkling, but Rogue is just too powerful. So he finally has to pull out his newest weapon, the full bottle. And after putting it into Rabbit mode, clearly begins to devastate Rogue. Unfortunately, it's revealed that Sawa is the traitor. No, again. And she delivers data to the Heavy Industries, and they install the data into Rogue's Splash Driver to give him immunities to Rabbit. So yeah, no, that's basically what happens in the episode. It's really good. I really like seeing a lot of the callbacks, particularly to the Kamen Rider Build Heisei Generations movie, where all the Heisei Riders, the Heisei Riders of the Neo era, come together, as that's the last film before they have to switch to a new emperor, which means it's the end of Heisei era in general. And referencing the fact that Kamen Rider Build takes place in a different dimension, there were two people from the dimension who were the same person, more or less, but they were the same person but from different sides of the dimension. And so this is actually where we get the origin for the Nebula Steam Gun, actually. It was created by these two guys, the same guy, but again, okay, basically Kamen Rider Build takes place in a different universe because obviously, Japan has not been split into 3 separate countries for the last 10 years, both in the real world and in the realm of Kamen Rider. They had to go around that by saying after X-Aid, Kamen Rider Build's in a different dimension. Although they did also say that Ghost and X-Aid were in different dimensions, but I think they eventually kind of just ignored that, because that would imply that every series before Ghost took place in the same universe and then they split again. And even then, Kamen Rider's been weird about how everything takes place, because from the Showa era, from the original Showa Kamen Rider 1 up until the last Showa Rider, Black RX, actually, and even then, the live action movie series, Shin, Zeto, and J all took place in the Showa universe's continuity. And then with Kamen Rider Kuga, they wanted it that every Kamen Rider series happened in its own universe, and they never interacted up until Kiva, or no, Kiva, where Kiva interacted with Den-O, the one that came before, and then Kamen Rider Decade implied that Decade caused every single Rider series to merge together into one linear universe. But due to just the way the story takes place, Kamen Rider Build obviously has to take place in an alternate universe. We haven't really seen if there are any other Kamen Riders. Like, we haven't seen if there's, like, you know, Kamen Riders from, like Kamen Riders that we know from this dimension, but they're, like, portrayed by different actors, or if, like, Kamen Rider is a TV show, like Digimon Tamers. We haven't really gotten any confirmation. But this here shows that Heisei Generation's final is in continuity, as Sento recognizes that they have the powers of the Baikaisers, who are the villains and who the Hell Brothers forms are based on. Except that they're not blue and red; they're white and green. I mean, granted, they have stated that, like, before, that Namba Heavy Industries, like, took the Baikaisers' weapons and modified them to actually be a weapon system. But this here is where they really solidly, I think, do it, because they show footage from Heisei Generation's final. I haven't seen that yet because it hasn't. I think the film, because it was the winter film, it doesn't come out until this spring, more or less until like April or May, and then even then we have to wait until someone gets the film and subs it, and because the films usually are like an hour 20, an hour and a half, it takes a while for them to translate. So yeah, and of course, this means Ryuga has a hard time, but then we get but he still fights anyways, because he made a promise that he would protect Sento, and he wouldn't allow him to destroy himself, because Sento is the one who made him who he is today. And he tries until the Baikaiser, or the Hellbro. I'm gonna call him the Hellbro. I keep switching between calling them Baikaisers and the Hellbros. Technically, I think in general their species, the species of power up is called Kaiser. It makes more sense to just call them the Kaisers, because they're more or less the Baikaisers. Just with their own unique name. But I'm gonna try and keep calling them Hellbros, because I'll probably confuse people if I don't. And so he tricks him into thinking that his brother is going to be killed by Namba Heavy Industries unless he wins, which causes Ryuga to hesitate, and the Hellbro unleashes a super move that just knocks him out of his transformation. And we realize that the Hellbros themselves are actually bros, and they say, they can't get rid of us. We're Namba Heavy Industries' best weapon. You can't scrap us that easily, which I feel like is going to be not true. That if they fail, Rogue will execute them. Especially because I think Kamen Rider Rogue is far more powerful than the Hellbros. And there's a really funny scene where Yuga tries to apologize for failing, and Sento doesn't even care. He's like, he's regular. This sucks. He's like, no, this is the best, because that means I get to be the hero and you get to be your secondary character. I liked it because it shows that Sento's finally kind of gotten out of his funk. He's been in since more or less getting the Hazard Trigger. That he really, he has improved a lot since the first representative battle, but I think developing this weapon is finally going to give him his own freedom. And so we get the beginning of the representative battle, and of course Sawa gives her data over. But she also seems to be setting up some sort of plan with Grease that we see beginning, but we don't really see how what's going to happen going forward. But I'm assuming she's going to probably find some sort of plan to save Sento. I'm not sure what, but we'll find out. And so we get into the main meat of the episode, which is, of course, the final fight between the final fight between Rogue and Build, or at least the final fight for now. I'm sure sooner or later because I'm guessing Sato is going to still be fairly antagonistic. Like I can't see Rogue. Sorry. Joining forces with Build. I'm pretty sure he's going to stay a villain no matter what. Or more or less, he's going to be Namba Heavy Industries' major weapon. And there's actually a really interesting moment between Gentaku and his former assistant, in which after they download the data to the data that will make Rogue immune to the power of the full bottle, he hands him the Splash Driver and he goes, now you can get revenge on those who threw you away. And Gentaku's like, I don't fight for that reason. Clearly saying, I'm fighting so that one day I can rule over this country and restore it to the whole that I believe it should be by gaining the power of the Pandora's box. And I think a little bit they want to try and show that Gentako isn't completely driven by revenge. He is, but he doesn't realize he is, because he believes that he is doing so because he wants to prove that he is the only one worthy of the power of the Pandora's box and someone who can unite Japan again. Which he isn't, because he's clearly too driven by his own greed and hatred to truly break that cycle. And it's proven a lot in his battle with Build, because he's been doing what he's been doing ever since we've gotten the reveal that Sento and Katsuragi are the same person. And there's a lot of emphasis put on that, because Grease and Ryuga talk about how he was formerly, the demon scientist, and how it's not really fair that Sento has all this stuff put on him for a life he doesn't remember. Like, for all intents and purposes, even though Katsuragi's body is still alive, his soul was erased so that Sento was created. And so Katsuragi constantly eggs him on, all this time you've still been using Katsuragi's tech. You've been using it for war, and, Sento's like, and he, states that, Katsuragi didn't care, that Katsuragi wanted to he wanted to finish the Build system, even if it means a war would break out. He was going to advance science. And Sento is still hesitant. He doesn't use the full bottle or the hazard trigger until halfway through his fight, and tries to fight him with Rabbit Tank Sparkling using both the drills. I can't remember the name of the weapon. His first weapon, the drill saber, and the Nin comic weapon, the 4-panel Ninjato. He tries fighting him and using the full bottles from Hokuto, and he can't even make a scratch on him, which is great, because Gentaku makes a reference to the fact that he's been beaten by Rabbit Tank Sparkling twice. He's like, Rabbit Tank, your sparkling power won't work on me anymore. And he gets knocked around, and then he recalls the moment when Ryuga, as Cross Z, defended him after he found out that he and Gentako Katsuragi are the same person. How he said, you're not Kisaragi Gentaro or Kisaragi. You're neither Kisaragi Gentaro or Sato Taro, the man whose face Sato has. You are, neither one of them can save this country. That can only be done by Sento Kiryu. And I really love it because like Sento's like, I can't believe that meathead is the one that's saving me. But I also know I can't give up because not only did because he saved me, I also have to save him, and I have to save everyone else in this country. And he finally tells Gentaku off. He's like, I'm not Kisaragi Gentaro. I may be using his science to further my own goals, but my goals are to bring peace and justice to this country. I will not use the Kamen Rider system for war, but I will use it to save everyone. And if that means defeating you, then so be it. And he pulls out the hazard trigger, but then he pulls out his own tech. And in my opinion, that's what the full bottle and both the full bottle and the rabbit and tank forms represent. This is the first true thing he's made outside of the weapons for the build driver. And yes, he has made the weapons for a lot of his forms, but in my opinion, this is the first thing he's truly built that has been based on his own tech and is the beginning of his own image as a scientist. Since, after all of his other transformation devices, even the hazard trigger was stuff that Kisaragi Gentaro either made or gave him the blueprints for. And so he pulls out the full bottle and twists it, and Rabbit shows up on it, and then he pops it. He basically separates it in half, but it's still connected, and so basically it's like a binocular now, and he shoves it into the full bottle or the build driver, activating the hazard trigger, and it goes. Oh, I forget what exactly it says, but it goes like full match. I think it's a full match. But I really love this scene because it's so cool. Because like the hazard trigger like press pops out and turns him into Rabbit Tank Hazard. But then like something I think pops out the top. You don't technically. It's really hard to see, but basically like something pops out of it, and then out of this light, a little robot rabbit shows up. It's the Rabbit, and then it breaks into pieces. And Build in his hazard trigger form jumps in the air, and the parts like latch onto him like you're watching like a scene in like the Iron Man movies where like the Iron Man armor flies to Tony and then like splits into pieces and like the boots latch onto him and he flies up and like he flies to each piece, and it looks really cool. And then like a mask forms over his face, over the hazard trigger face to turn him into Rabbit, which is really cool, and I like it. Uncontrolled switch, Rabbit, yabe, hiye, like because it goes. It basically says Rabbit, no way, so fast, because hiye means so fast. In fact, Ryuga even says hi. I actually like that they've done a running gag where like someone always says after the build driver does its little hi, yay, like someone else will say it, because I know one time when Bill used Black Hazard, Grease went yabe, just like how the build driver always goes no way, because that's what yabe means. But like it was kind of cool, and I there was this really weird moment where the Prime Minister of Sato references the noises that the build driver makes for some reason. And more or less after this, Rogue's like, I don't understand. You used the hazard trigger, but you haven't lost your sense of self. Why is that? And more or less, Build basically says, I've created my own self. I will never lose myself again. I found my way. I found the path that I must follow. And for me, that's why I like the fact that his super mode is a powered up version of Rabbit and Tank, where it gives him a full use of the bottle of his original best match. Basically giving him, the full power of the Rabbit bottle or the full power of the Tank bottle. And doing so needing the power of the hazard trigger to fuel it. But because his sides match now, he now has his own sense of identity, basically. Which I never realized how, like, the best matches, because they're a mix, they represent how the conflict inside Sento himself. Is he Sento Kiryu, or is he Hisaragi Gentaro? Like, who is he? The organic side being Sento's humanity, and the machine part being Gentaku's cold calculation of science. And it's an interesting realization of how the dichotomy of Sento works, and why, instead of being split down the middle like Kamen Rider Double, where like both sides are the same, it's just they're split down the middle. You have Joker on the left, Cyclone on the right, because both Philip and Shotaro have their own sense of self, and they recognize that they're their own people, but they are the 2-in-1 detective of Futo. Oh my god, I completely forgot what the name of the town of my favorite Kamen Rider was. Oh my god. Oh, it's Futo. Oh, that's so embarrassing. Oh, I can hear my double driver upstairs being so embarrassed that I did that. Oh. But getting back after my own sense of shame, his split isn't down the middle. Like, it's split in multiple sections, and it crisscrosses down a perpendicular, as if to say, even he doesn't know which part is which. But when he becomes Rabbit or Tank, he's his own person, and there's no split, and it's all the same color. It's honestly kind of a great way to represent Sento's predicament as to who exactly he is. Because he's technically an amalgam of two people. He has the face of someone else and the mind and body of this scientist that caused so many people pain. It's an interesting dichotomy, and of course Black Hazard being the darkness inside Sento, because he doesn't know who he is, and in some ways that's the dark power of Hisaragi Gentaro's own soul. Although I still think we're eventually gonna find like something that proves that Gentaro was clearly not Kisaragi Gentaro is not nearly as evil as Gentaku or Faust make him out to be. That I think more or less he is his own. He was just as traumatized by the things he did as well, but he had no other way out, and so he tried to leave, and Bloodstar caught up with him and did what he did, make him a fugitive. But yeah, and of course we see that that Rabbit is the speed form of Build's super form, as he has basically a speed form and a strength form, and he just overpowers Rogue, eventually summoning the full cannon, which is more or less a giant full bottle cannon. I think it also might be a blade, because it looks like if you pop the handle down, like, it looks like a sword, but if you pop the handle down, it becomes a gun, and you can pop full bottles in. I think up to 3. So far he showed up to 3, but I'm guessing you can fill it up to 4. He did just Rabbit for, I think it was called a single match. And then he put 2 in, which I think was Rabbit and Rogue. He only used organic full bottles in this one. I'm assuming because like with Rabbit, he's only going to put in organic full bottles, not because that's how it works, but because that's the organic side. So he's going to use the organic ones like Rabbit and Rose and Panda. Oh yeah, it was Rabbit and Panda, and then I think Rose. Yeah, he put Rabbit in, and it was single match. And then he put Rabbit and Panda, and it was it's just match. Like, it's a just match. Like as if it's like a just right match. He basically more or less just kept hitting him with the full cannon, which I thought looked really cool. Granted, it only did like a few small blasts, but I'm assuming when we see Tank, we'll see the full power of the full cannon. Because my guess is the full cannon is meant to be more of a sword when used, but with Rabbit. But then he puts in Rabbit, Panda, and I think Rose. Maybe Rocket, but I can't remember. And so he puts in Rabbit, and he puts those three in, and he goes, "It's a miracle match!" And then just blows Rogue out of the building they were in. But doesn't dehension him, which shows that Rogue is still pretty powerful. And more or less, Rogue gets knocked out of the thing, but because he didn't dehension, the match is still going and will keep going even though they're no longer confined to a space. And Namba Heavy Industry, like this, the Prime Minister's like, "But we're gonna lose," and the chairman of Namba Heavy Industries more or less tells his little toady to activate the special defenses for against Rabbit. And so Rogue gets back up and the cracks in his body start glowing. And that's where it ends. This also leads into like how Sawa apparently, gave him the stuff for Rabbit. But my guess is Sento didn't tell her about the fact that he also implanted the tank form into the full bottle. Either that or more or less Sawa told him something and so Sento gave her false data that would look like the real data. It's not really made clear. Because I think the next episode we're finally going into like Sawa's backstory. As we found out that like her original backstory of like her father was killed by like Namba Heavy Industry or the Toto Science Institute, which is not true. She was an orphan that was given to Namba Heavy Industries to be one of the children of Namba. Hence why she's still so loyal, because she has been brainwashed like all the other children of Namba. Which is a shame. I would love to see how her interaction with the Gear Bros are, just because they were all children of Namba, but we haven't seen that yet. And so I think in the next episode we're going to see some of the repercussions for Sawa for that, but also her retribution, because obviously he's going to win. Next episode they unveil Tank, and I think more or less using Tank is how he's going to win. So yeah, no, this is a really good episode. Very solid. A lot of cool stuff happens. It's a very packed episode, but it doesn't really feel packed. A lot happens, but it happens in a way that doesn't feel like it overwhelms. I really liked it. I like the character stuff. I love Rabbit. I think that's going to be probably my favorite form of the super forms, but we'll see once Tank comes out. But otherwise, guys, I think that's going to be it. I'm already running 27 minutes. This is going to be a long video. But anyway, guys, I just want to thank you for that. It's getting towards March, the end of March. So, we're getting much closer to me starting my other vlog series for My Hero Academia. Season 3 is going to happen. I might try, I have to work the day of my birthday. My birthday's April 3rd. It's not like a birthday vlog. It's or anything like that. Although I might do a haul for if I get anything cool, but more or less I might do something kind of special for April 3rd, because not only is it my birthday, but it's also the birthday of Kamen Rider. The very first episode of Kamen Rider 1 debuted on April 3rd, 1971. And I always try to do kind of something special to commemorate Kamen Rider Kamen Rider for April. I know last year I did a month of Kamen Rider for a Facebook page I admin, where I did like something Kamen Rider related every single day, whether it be a review or just talking about shows. I don't know if I'm gonna try and do like a vlog thing for every day of April. I might do like a special Kamen Rider vlog once a week, but due to the fact that I'll be doing both vlogs for Build and vlogs for My Hero Academia, I don't know if I can fit in doing 3 vlogs a week. I'm gonna basically more or less rotate how I'm going to do Kamen Rider and My Hero Academia. Basically more or less whatever I see first, I'm going to do a vlog for it first, and then I'm going to find the episode for whatever I'm doing next. I'm still not entirely sure how I'm going to watch My Hero Academia Season 3. I don't know if I want to sign up for, like, a Funimation account. Because I don't know how you do that, and I don't know how expensive it is to have Funimation streaming service. I might see if I can borrow someone's Crunchyroll account to see if I can watch My Hero Academia on Crunchyroll. Because I think it's on there. Or I'm just going to have to try and find some ways to watch it somehow. But I will figure that out when I get there. Weird, I don't post how I watch it. I mostly watch these through legitimate means. Yeah, via non-profit fan subs. But I still try to, appreciate the official release. I'm trying to look for the box sets of My Hero Academia. Don't judge me. But yeah, that's more something for me to worry about. But I figured I'd talk more about what's coming on ahead in the days ahead. But anyway, guys, we're now at 31 minutes, so I think I'm gonna wrap this up. That's my review of Kamen Rider Build episode 26, or 27. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and look forward to the next one. Take care, guys.